Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you had a very exciting Christmas, right? Okay, so as promised, today I'm going to talk or touch on a topic that people have been asking me a lot, especially people back home have been asking me a lot, and the question is, why Portugal? Now, why Portugal? Why would you choose to study in Portugal? So I went ahead and made a list of a few things why I chose Portugal and why I think Portugal is one of the best places for anybody to study, especially if you want to study, and most especially if you want to live, especially for old people as well. Yeah, because the weather is amazing. It's not that cold. We are in winter, right? But I could just go out in what I'm wearing and still feel okay. It's not as chilly as some places. So for the weather is amazing for everybody or anyone that is not used to really cold weather, right? So now let's get back to being a student. Okay, so now the benefits of studying in Portugal. One is affordability. Studying in Portugal is quite affordable. It's quite affordable because tuition fees ranges from, let's say, 2,000, 2,500 to like 4,000. You can get schools. I hear of some schools that even have tuition fees of 500. I really don't know about that, but if it is so, then it's quite cheap. But what I can confirm is that you can get tuition fees as low as 2,500 to about 4,000 and upwards, depending on the school. Some private schools, there are private schools as well, so private schools usually have a higher fee, but the public schools, yes, is from 2,500, which is relatively cheaper than other countries. So that is one benefit of studying in Portugal. Okay, secondly, the cost of living. The cost of living here is relatively low, right? So take for instance your rent, because rent is the most important thing anybody would think about. If it's the first thing anybody would think about, their rent of late is quite rising, but still it's within the minimum compared to other countries. Again, we are comparing Portugal to other countries that somebody might think or might want you to be that you are not. So you're just trying to see the benefits of it. And the cost of living is low in that with the minimum wage, a lot of people earn minimum wage here. With the minimum wage, you will be able to live a very, very, very comfortable life here. Because with the minimum wage, you can pay your rent, you can pay your bills, as in utility and other bills. You can have some for feeding, and if you're not a spendthrift, you can even save something small. You get it? That is the how or why we are saying that Portugal has a low cost of living. But not forgetting that their minimum wage is quite low as well compared to other countries. Again, their minimum wage is very, very low. But with that low minimum wage, you can still be able to live a comfortable life here in Portugal. So the other benefit is, Portugal has one of the strongest passports in the world, right? If you didn't know, now you know. Now you know. So Portugal has one of the strongest passport in the world, and if you're able to get that passport, okay, so that is one of the benefits. And then you can also bring your spouse as a student. Do you know that? Well, if you didn't, I'm telling you now. You can bring your spouse as a student, your spouse, your kids as a student as well, and your spouse can work as well. Is that good, right? And again, the benefits are just enormous. Again, the schools have a lot of English taught programs. Yes, for a country that doesn't or English is not their first language, in their universities, they have quite a number of English taught programs. Now, the difference is that for masters and PhD, obviously, yeah, there are a lot of English taught programs compared to BSc. So a lot of people ask me about BSc, and I tell them it is preferable to come here as a master's or a PhD student than a BSc student, because most of the schools that offer the BSc courses in English are private schools. And the private schools, like I said earlier, the tuition fee is a little higher. But I'm sure there are a few public schools that would have some courses taught in BSc. So just do your research well and you might find something. Okay. The next thing I have here is the application process. I don't know for other countries, but the application process, like for visa one in my country, was quite easy. It wasn't that stressful as other countries do. It was quite flexible for me. It was just the waiting period because we didn't have an embassy in my country, so I had to go to Nigeria and back and all that. So the waiting period can get you a little, yeah. But aside that, I think the application for visa process is quite flexible. You can go around it, and it's quite flexible. And then the application for schools in Portugal, if you're applying to schools, I always say to people that there are some schools that require that your certificates should be legalized by the Portuguese embassy in your country. So you send your certificates to the embassy, they do the legalization, they bring it back, and then you apply for visa. But some countries, some schools rather don't require that legalization of certificates. You just go through, apply with your certificate, and you are good to go. So I always advise, if you are applying, depending on the school, that's why it's important to go to the school's website and read every detail. Because if the school requires that your certificates are legalized by the embassy before you apply, and you don't read that and you go ahead and apply, they would not admit you. So check that. If your school require that, do that first before you apply. If your school don't, just go straight ahead and then apply. Now, I'm always talking about the first phase of application because it is the most preferred one, or the most advisable choice you can make, because they have three phases. They have the first phase of admission, application, admission, second phase, and the third phase. But the first phase is open to all international students, open to everybody. So they tend to take a lot of people during the first phase. So if you have the shot, just shoot it in the first phase. And the third phase is just like even for just people within the region. If you're already here, or if you're already in Europe somewhere, that is when, anywhere that you do not require visa, that is when you can apply during the third phase. So the first, if you don't get the first, then the second, but the first is preferable. And also when you apply for the first, it gives you ample time for you to gather your documents and even apply for visa. That is why they usually focus on international students in the first application, because they feel if you apply in January and you are admitted, you have ample time to gather everything that you need to even apply for your visa to return to you till September, where the classes actually start, right? So it is always advisable that you apply in January. And January is just a few days in. No, I was going to say a few days ago. No, January is just few days ahead. So like I said in my other video, by now you should have all your documents ready to apply. And another benefit is that application fees in Portugal is very, 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 very cheap. Yeah, It's very affordable, like from 50 to maximum 100 euros. I've not heard of any school that charges 100 euro for application, but let's just say max. The max I've heard is 70 euro, but let's just say max is 100 euro. So meaning from 50 euro to 100 euro, you can apply to any school with these documents. And the documents for the application, I know some schools may have one or two differences, but in general, yes, your transcript, your certificate, your CV, and a motivation letter. Now the catch is here. If you know that your transcript is not really, you don't really have the grades well, then you can back it by your CV, your work experience. And then in your motivation letter, you tell them, you make it convincing enough why you want to enter this school or why you want to pursue the program that you are applying for. You convince them enough so that it would cover up for your grades. You get it? So even if your grade is not, just convince them in your motivation letter, and also have a strong work experience to back it. Okay, all right. And the document for the visa application, I have it in my video. I'll try to link it somewhere up here, so you just go through that video. I gave you a list of all the documents that you need to apply for the visa. And yes, one best part is that when you apply to the schools, you should go through their website very well when you're applying, because they have scholarship that you can apply to. So as you are doing your application, you can as well apply for the scholarship. Now if you apply for the scholarship, it doesn't mean that you're not going to pay school fees or anything. You will still pay, but when you get here, they are going to refund your school fees to you. That is if you get that scholarship. So be vigilant on that website, read everything into detail. If you see a scholarship, open that tab and read everything about the scholarship. If you think you can apply, still pay your application fees, still pay your school fees. When you get here and they give it to you, then they can refund the school fees to you. But for my school, for instance, I don't know for other school, but I'm sure it's almost in all the schools here in Portugal, if you don't get that scholarship, but when you get here, you still have the opportunity. When you start the semester, you still have the opportunity to get a scholarship, right? That is during your examination. If you're able to pass all your courses to with a certain grade, they automatically qualify for a school fees refund. Yeah, it's that good. Yeah. So just I mean, with all this said, do you still want to ask me why Portugal? Do you really want to ask me why Portugal? Right. Okay. Aside the fact that the country is so safe, you can be walking from 1 a.m. 2 a.m. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody's even worried about you, right? Nobody's not thinking about you. It's safe, nice weather, nice food, affordable oh my god, I can go on and on and on and on and on, but I mean, 2025, January 2025 is just here, and that is what I want us to focus on. So with everything that I've said, I hope I've convinced you enough to gather your documents. January, apply, and hopefully I would see you here soon. All right, please guys, I am hoping to hit 500 subscribers before next year January. So this December, we have only a few days to the end. Please don't just watch, like, and pass. Please subscribe. Okay, just subscribe for me, please. Just subscribe so that I hit 500 in 2024, so that 2025 I know that, yeah, I'm geared up. I'm all geared up, right? Okay, all right, thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. All right, ciao.